Hey, everybody. Hey, a very basic Bible here. I'm going to go to Ruth. Yeah. Started a second ago and realized I hadn't made sure and checked to see if the microphone was working. Had to start over again. Here we go. Going to go through that book of Ruth. Hit right here. Share screen. Share. Okay. I am logged out of the bible.org/gt/ I am logged out. Look at that Acts chapter. You got Greek and Hebrew over here, the NIV over here. I usually here sign in, yeah. All right, there we go. There's my email, b4him@gmail.com. Anybody want to email me? Yay, remember me on this computer. Sure, why not? Okay, let's see what happens. I got, let's go to Ruth over here. Ruth 3. Boaz will redeem Ruth right there. Here we go. That looks good. NASB over here. NLT way over here. Nabry right in the middle. Nabry. All right. Let's go hit that Ruth up. Song of Solomon. Nehemiah Chronicles. During the time of the judges. So judges, Ruth. Because this is roughly chronological order. Till you hit 1st and 2nd Chronicles, which repeats almost everything from the end of 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings. I'm sorry, the end of 1st Samuel, 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings. 1st Chronicles is like the end of 1st Samuel through 2nd Kings condensed. So, and 9 chapters of genealogy in 1st Chronicles. People hate that. Okay, but I'm a glutton for punishment. I read it and then I go like, hey, this name looks familiar, and I go find it. I look it up. It's kind of fun that way. All right. Ruth, chapter 3. Here we go. Let's get that mouse slowed down because I just zoom. Okay, don't want to zoom on you. Go slow. A little too slow. Apply. Buttons, pointers. And I believe mouse, change your mouse settings. Oop, let's see what, if I can find it. All right. Scroll, multiple left, cursor speed, already there. Adjust mouse and cursor size. Right here. Got a little different color. We'll make it magenta. There we go. Make my cursors a little bigger, my pointer, so you can see it. Okay. Now, when I'm pointing at something, you can see it. Okay, here we go. Ruth, chapter 3. Gonna start down around chapter 15, verse 15. Boaz. We'll start reading verse 1. Okay. Then her mother-in-law, Naomi, said to her, my daughter, shall I not seek security for you, that it may go well for you? Now then, is Boaz not our relative with whose young women you were? Behold, he is winnowing barley at the threshing floor tonight. Wash yourself, therefore, and anoint yourself, and put on your best clothes, and go down to the threshing floor. But do not reveal yourself to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. Hey, real quick. Esther. Ether. Ether, oh, some dude's name. Esther. Okay, let's see. Book results. Yes, Book of Esther. Okay, now it happened in the days of Ahasuerus. This is well after the time of the judges. Aha, Sue Ruth. I don't know. How do you pronounce that name? I say Ahasuerus. Aswerus? I don't know. Other places in the Bible, his name is Artaxerxes. I don't know. I'm sure BJ is just as strange to him. He'd be like, BJ? What? You name your kid Bob? What? There's not enough syllables in that name. Ahasuerus? Bob. Okay. At the time, display the riches of his royal glory. Look at this. The third year of his reign, held a banquet for all his officials, the officials of his provinces, 180 days, the riches of his royal glory. All right. Fine purple linen, silver rings, marble columns, couches of gold. That would be uncomfortable. Couch made of gold. I don't know. Maybe it's not actually made of gold. They held a banquet on the last thing, 7 days at the very end of it. Drinking was done according to the royal law. But the heart was cheerful with wine. He ordered Mehuman, Biztha, Harbana, Bigtha, Abictha, Zethar, and Carcas, the 7 eunuchs who served the presence of the king of Ahasuerus, to bring Queen Vashti before him with her royal turban, in order to display her beauty to the people and the officials, for she was beautiful. But Queen Vashti refused. All right, she refused. He's like, hey, we're going to display her royal beauty, but she's like, nope, I refuse. Look. Queen Vashti also held a banquet for the women in the palace, She held it in the palace, which belonged to King Ahasuerus. So she's in the same palace. She's holding a banquet for all the women. I will drink. You got me some Gatorade and water. All right. But we're going to look at Esther chapter. Vashti's successor, Esther, finds favor. It came about when the command and decree of the king were heard, many young ladies were gathered to the citadel of Susa. King Ahasuerus is like, Vashti, you're gone. I need another queen, though. Vashti did not come before me because she refused. I need another queen. Esther finds favor. Okay. Now, look at this. Esther was taken to the king's palace in the custody of Haggai, who was in charge of the women. Now the young lady, Esther, pleased Haggai, found favor with Haggai. So he quickly provided her with cosmetics and food, gave her 7 choice female attendants from the king's palace, transferred her and her attendants to the best place in the harem. Yikes. Now, Ruth is not in a harem. She don't have attendants, but let's see, where was that? Cosmetics. Yeah. Okay. Oh, look at this. Now, when the turn came for each young woman to go into King Ahasuerus, after the end of 12 months under the regulations for the women, for the days of their beauty treatment, these ladies are getting super dolled up for the king. The king's like, I need a new queen. I ain't taking no riffraff, I guess. 12 months. Look at this. Complete as follows. 6 months with oil and myrrh. 6 months with balsam oil and cosmetics for women. I'm not sure exactly what that would look like, but I'm guessing 6 months of applying the oil of myrrh to yourself. You know, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Yes, myrrh was a type of oil. Costly oil. Made you smell good, probably cleaned you up, probably made you all shiny. You know, we see people with oily today, like bodybuilders, and we kind of make fun of them. We see oily people today, we think they need to step away from the tanning bed, or they need to wash their face because they're dirty. Well, back then, you put oil, you're nice and shiny. I guess they liked it. I don't know. Maybe it made her smell good. Maybe it was just for cleaning. Maybe it had soap type properties. You know, maybe it cleaned them. But 6 months. Okay, so every day she probably puts it on, and 6 months with balsam oil and the cosmetics for women. So they dolled them up. It's 12 months of this stuff, man. Oh, hey, spoiler alert. Esther becomes queen. The book is named after her. I mean, you know. Okay, let's see. One more thing real quick. Haman's plot against the Jews. Okay, yeah. Haman is a bad guy. Esther learns of Haman's plot. Okay. Esther plans to, okay. Esther replied to Mordecai, go gather all the Jews who are found in Susa, fast for me. She's going, remember, Haman is plotting against the Jews. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, said Esther. Night or day. Don't be drinking, fast. I and my attendants will also fast in the same way. And then I will go into the king, which is not in accordance with the law. She's going to go into the king, and that's against the law. They had weird laws. Remember earlier, the king was like, hey, Vashti, I'm calling for you. Vashti didn't come. She's no longer king. Esther's now queen. She's no longer queen. She never was king. She's no longer queen. Now, Esther is going to go into the king without being called. The king's at a banquet. He's all happy and cheerful with wine. He wants to show all his stuff off. He calls his queen. Here, Esther, just going to go in without being called. And if I perish, I perish. I guess it's upon death. If you go into the queen without being, into the king without being called, you could be killed. She's the queen, though. I don't know. This was a different place at a different time period. I'm always saying we have to get out of our time period that we're in today. Right now, 2022. I live in Texas, in the United States. I've grown up here. I've never been anywhere else. Been to Louisiana. I drove a truck around the United States. I guess me and my wife went on a cruise because I got a rather well-to-do aunt who was like, "I'll get you a cruise for your honeymoon," and we were like, "Whoa," you know. I never even. We went to SeaWorld when I was a kid on vacation for a day and a half. Oh man, we were living the big life. I mean, so that's just who we are. And then my aunt goes and marries a lawyer who's a Christian, and in fact, the son of the Baptist pastor who was our family's pastor for years. So I mean, this guy is awesome Christian lawyer. He's a real lawyer, not like a Christian law practice, but actual lawyer. But he's a Christian. She told me that he's dropped. He opted out of several cases because he felt, well, no, I'm supposed to be arguing for this person, but I feel it's not right because I think the person really is guilty and I shouldn't be arguing for them. I mean, this is a cool guy. Now he's a judge. Man, that's a federal judge, not Supreme Court. But okay, whatever. Enough of that. Enough of my aunt. Where were we at now? Squirrel. Okay, so she's gonna go into the king even though she hasn't been called. Okay. We went on a cruise, went to Jamaica, got gypped out of money. Yep, because we didn't know the culture. We were transported into a different culture. It was very different. If you've heard of people talk about culture shock and such, very different. Okay, this is a different culture, a different time period. The queen, and this wasn't in Israel. This is Susa. This was in Persia. This was after the exile, okay, in Persia, in a city called Susa. A whole different. I mean, this is a whole different. This whole different culture. Like, this isn't the 20th century culture. They did weird things like the king would not see the queen unless he called her. That's so strange to us. So now it came about on the third day that Esther put on her royal robes. Oh, it doesn't say she got all dressed up. She was fasting. She wasn't eating food. Hopefully she doesn't look bad. Stood in the inner courtyard of the king's palace. The king was sitting on his royal throne. When the king saw Esther standing in the courtyard, she obtained favor in his sight. The king extended Esther the golden scepter. I guess that's a, so Esther approached. I guess that's a good thing. What is troubling you, Queen Esther? What is your request? Okay, good. So she got him good with the king. All right. Over here, we don't got a maniacal king. No, we got Boaz. Nice guy. But Ruth, a poor lady like me, she ain't never been on a cruise. She probably never even been to SeaWorld. They didn't have such things as vacations back then. That's why God made the Israelites have feasts so they would rest. He was like, hey, once out of every 7 days, Sabbath, you were going to rest. And it always pointed to him. When I went to SeaWorld, I wasn't thinking about God. I was a little kid. When they went to a Sabbath festival, when they went to one of the 3 big fests out of the year, when the Israelites, whom Ruth was now an Israelite, Naomi was, Boaz was, Ruth now, technically an Israelite, they had 3 big feasts throughout the year, and more were added, as time went on. When they went to a feast, they didn't just go and have a bunch of fun. They went and had a bunch of fun for God. So here, wash yourself, therefore, anoint yourself, put on your best clothes. She's going to try to find favor in Boaz's sight, right? And in fact, chapter 2, go. When the king Ahasuerus saw Esther the queen, now Esther's a Jew, Ahasuerus is a Gentile king, standing in the courtyard, she obtained favor in his sight. Now we have a Gentile lady and a Jewish man, although Ruth is technically now Jewish. She's with a Jewish mother-in-law. She forsook her gods. She came to, and she's been living in Israel. You could probably say that, yeah, she's joined the Israelite religion, but she's an Ammonite, Moabite, sorry. She's a Moabite. And here's a Jewish dude, Control F. Please let me go in the field and glean among the ears, following one whose eyes I may find favor. She fell on her face, bowing to the ground, and said to him, why have I found favor in your sight? Ruth fell on her face, bowed to the ground before Boaz, said, Boaz, why have I found favor in your sight? I mean, so it's, kind of neat when you find things that match. So that next chapter. All right. So then her mother-in-law, Naomi, said to her, my daughter, Ruth, shall I not seek security for you that it may go well for you, and then get you a husband and a family? Now then, is Boaz not our relative? Boaz can be the husband. With whose young women you were? Behold, he is winnowing barley at the threshing floor tonight. Wash yourself, therefore, and anoint yourself, and put on your best clothes, and go down to the threshing floor, but do not reveal yourself to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. Are they going to trick him? Maybe. I'm not sure. God uses deception quite often. We'll come back to that, in fact, in the next chapter. Okay? We'll come back to that. Don't worry. I said God uses deception. We'll come back to that. And it shall be where he lies down that you shall take notice of the place where he lies down after he's finished eating and drinking. And you shall go and uncover his feet and lie down. Then he will tell you what to do. And she said to her, all that you say I will do. Okay. Look at this. When he lies down. Okay, never mind. Okay, don't look at that. So Ruth went down to the threshing floor after she got all dolled up, I guess, and did according to all that her mother-in-law had commanded her. I'm guessing she didn't go to the threshing floor and then get all dressed up and pretty and stuff. I'm guessing she got dressed up pretty, then went down there and did all that her mother-in-law had commanded her. What did her mother-in-law command her? When Boaz had eaten and drunk and his heart was cheerful with wine, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. And she came secretly and uncovered his feet and lay down. And it happened in the middle of the night that the man was startled and bent forward. And behold, a young woman was lying at his feet. So he said, "Who are you?" And she answered, "I am Ruth, your slave. Now spread your garment over your slave, for you are a redeemer." Then he said, "May you be blessed of the Lord, my daughter." Now he's already told her that, right? He's already been blessed be you, my Lord. Okay? You have shown your last kindness to be better than your first. What was the first kindness? Kindness to her mother-in-law. Boaz in chapter 2 was like, "I know of all the good things you've done for your mother-in-law, but here, the last kindness, you've shown your last kindness to be better than the first." What's the last kindness? By not going after young women, whether poor or rich. So he's saying, wait a minute. The kindness of you coming to an old man, me, instead of a young man to be redeemed. Okay, you need a husband, Ruth. You want a redeemer. You came to me, an old man, rather than a young man. That kindness is greater than taking care of your mother-in-law. You have shown your last kindness to be better than the first. The first kindness, you took care of your mother-in-law, but hey, this kindness, you didn't go after the young man. Instead, you came after me, an old dude. Okay, I'm sure he's not saying literally that that's being kind. It's rhetoric. Everything's bigger, everything's better, everything's greater. I've never seen this done before in all Israel. There's never been a worse king in all Israel, instead of a lot of kings of Israel. Jesus says, prophets say there's never going to be a worse judgment. Then a prophet later says there's never going to be a worse judgment. Then Jesus himself, speaking of the prophet, said there's never going to be a worse judgment. It's just, it's just what happens, So he's using rhetoric to describe how he's using overly hyperbolic. He's using overly large language to describe just how wonderful. It's like whenever you get today, okay, we got a gift from our my wife's grandmother. We went over to her house. Her grandmother was like, "Hey, I want to give you stuff." Every time we went over to her grandma's house, she would give us, her grandfather would give us money, or would give us random items, trying to be nice to us. And we're like, "Thank you. Thank you, thank you." We'd accept it. One time gave us this comforter, nice, really pretty comforter. Well, it wasn't very pretty, but it's very warm. I'm kind of glad we have it. Well, we had a comforter that my dad gave us for Christmas. We had 2 comforters, in fact. We have like 3 or 4 blankets. We're living the high life. I gave some of them away to, I believe, or I should, Well, we didn't need any more. So we were like, "Grandma, thank you very much for giving us this comforter. Thank you. That's awesome. This is a great gift. We have lots of comforters, Grandma. We don't need another one. Man, that's so awesome that you're giving it to us, but we don't." She got so upset. "Well, if you don't want to take my hospitality, if you don't want," and she turned and me and my wife, and I looked at my wife and she looked at me, and we were like, "No, Grandma, we're sorry. No, we're sorry. Hey, no, we'll take it. No, well, I mean, if you have to, oh, man, we hurt her feelings so bad. No matter what we tried to do, it's like, oh, crud, oops, she still loved us. Later that day, she was telling us how much she loved us and how glad she was to see us. Next time we came over, it's like it never happened. Okay, but man, we did. What did we do? We're not sure. Well, here, he's not actually saying like this is a kindness. It's not really a kindness. In fact, it's a virtuous thing that she would not go after young men, but go after the actual redeemer of the law. He's the closest relative. She didn't just say, "Hey, I want to shack up with some young man, forget the law of Israel." She's doing the law of Israel, and he's saying that's a good thing. God's kindness brings us to repentance. You have shown your last kindness, He's using rhetoric to be like, "Hey, this is great." We tell each other all the time, like we give toast at weddings. And sometimes the person, or at a funeral, a pastor gets up at a funeral and gives a speech, or what a person gives a speech for a person, and sometimes the person's not the best person in the world. Sometimes we don't like the person. but we still say good things about him. It's just proper. Well, here they did that a lot back then. They would use trumped up language. But he's saying, hey, it's really cool that this is good. You're not going after young men, whether rich or poor. I'm an old dude. You're coming. You're going after instead. Okay, here we go. Verse 11. So now, my daughter, she's not his daughter, obviously. So now, my daughter, do not fear. I will do for you whatever you say. For all my people in the city know that you are a woman of excellence. Okay. I'm not sure, is he saying I'll be your redeemer because you're a virtuous woman? And let's say she messed up a few times. She didn't do that well. Well, sorry, I can't be a redeemer. Not sure. Probably we're told not to make friends with sinners. We're told not to like our if other Christians are by friends with sinners. Okay, we can be friends with sinners, but the people we confide in for deep, true, godly relationships would be Christians, would be other Jesus worshipers, of course. We can be friends with sinners, yes, but the people we go to for our family should be Christians, But we're also told if somebody's a Christian, look at this. Oops, let's go. 2 Corinthians. Oops. 1 Corinthians 5. 28 minutes. Okay. It's actually reported there's sexual immorality among you. Sexual immorality of such a kind that doesn't even exist among the Gentiles. Namely, someone has his father's wife. Some dude is married to his mom. That's some sexual immorality among you. Even that doesn't even exist among the Gentiles. Man, that's harsh. Okay. Verse 9. I wrote to you in my letter. So I guess he wrote a letter before this one. Okay. This is 1 Corinthians, but he must have written another letter. Paul can write as many letters as he wants, just because we don't find them all. I mean, what we could call this second, maybe third or fourth, maybe Corinthians, but whatever, he wrote another. Okay. So this is a letter. He's writing to them. I wrote to you in my letter not to associate with sexually immoral people. I did not at all mean with the sexually immoral people of this world, or with the greedy, and swindlers, or with idolaters, for then you would have to leave the world. In order to not associate with immoral people of the world, you would have to leave the world. And don't do that, But actually, I wrote to you not to associate with any so-called brother if he's a sexually immoral person, or a greedy person, or an idolater, or verbally abusive, habitually drunk, or a swindler, not even to eat with such a person. Don't associate him. Don't even eat with him. For what business is it mine to judge outsiders? Do you not judge those who are within the church? Yes. What business is mine to judge outsiders? None. Do you not judge those who are within the church? Yes, that's who you judge. But those who are outside, God judges. Remove the evil person from among yourselves. So maybe Boaz is saying, hey, not only you're an Israelite, now you've done, you've by proxy, by forsaking the God of the Moabites and living with your mother-in-law and helping her out, by living under the rules, the laws of Israel, you're now an Israelite for those reasons, where is it at? You are a woman of excellence. You're an Israelite who isn't a immoral person, greedy person, or an idolater, verbally abusive, habitually drunk, swindler. You're not that. You're an actual Israelite. So, my daughter, do not fear. I will do for you whatever you say. Okay. But now, although it is true that I am a redeemer, yet there's also a redeemer more closely related than I. We've talked about that in past episodes, but hey, Why not? Matthew, no. One second. Which husband? John 1. Husband. Matthew, only 2. Okay, we'll see. Married. We're going to find this. Matthew, let's see. Awesome. Here we go. Full chapter. Matthew 20 to 25. 22, 25. Okay, so Corinthians was Paul, the apostle of Jesus. So after Jesus passed away. This is during the time of Jesus. Both of them are after the time of the judges and Esther. Okay. On that day, some Sadducees who say there's no resurrection. Come on, dude, get with the picture. Some Sadducees who say there's no resurrection came to Jesus and questioned him, saying, they're going to challenge him. Teacher, Moses said, if a man dies having no children, his brother as next of kin shall marry his wife and raise up children for his brother. Okay. Now there were 7 brothers among us. The first married and died, having no children. Okay, well, let's go back to verse 24. If a man dies having no children, his brother, okay, first married and died and having no children, he left his wife to his brother. His brother, as next of kin, shall marry his wife and raise up children for his brother. Okay. It was also the same with the second brother. So then the second brother died with no children, and the third brother died with no children, down to the last 7. Last of all, the woman died. In the resurrection, therefore, whose wife of the woman shall she be? For they all had her in marriage. And of course, Jesus goes on to say, you're mistaken, since you do not understand the scriptures nor the power of God. For in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage. Okay, so Jesus says it doesn't matter because when we're resurrected, no marriage is going to happen. So it's okay. Marriage is until death do us part. When they die, after the resurrection, no marriage. Okay, here we go. Remain this night. Okay. But now, although it is true that I am a redeemer, I am a next of kin to marry you. I'm not your brother. I'm not your brother's brother. I'm not Naomi's brother's brother. I'm not sure how close was Boaz related. It said that Boaz was a relative of Elimelech. That's all we know. Elimelech is who Naomi was married to. Okay. And Boaz is married to Elimelech. So if Ruth is now an Israelite in the family of Naomi, not biologically, not ethically, she didn't go to the courthouse. No. She's forsaken her God. She's come with Naomi. She's lived as an Israelite under the law. She's essentially an Israelite now with Naomi. She's related to Naomi. Naomi calls her my daughter, right? Ruth is now technically, quote unquote, related to Boaz. Boaz is a redeemer, but although it is true, I am a redeemer, I can marry you, yes. Yet there is also a redeemer more closely related than I. Dun, dun, dun. Over here, it was the same also with the second brother who died. Down to the 7th. The 7th brother didn't get him before the second brother, if the second brother's closer. Now they're all brothers, so they're all close. But let's say you only got one brother and that brother dies. Your uncle could take it, right? Let's see. Redeem. Move my face down, hit the lollipop. Move my face up. Okay. Leviticus. It might be in Numbers, might be in Deuteronomy. Let's look at Leviticus first. If a man has sexual relations with a woman who is a slave acquired from another man, but who has in no way been redeemed nor given her freedom, there shall be punishment. But they shall not, however, be put to death because she was not free. She was not free, so the punishment isn't as strict. Okay. But, and the slave has not been redeemed. Hopefully they would redeem all the slaves. Come on, people. if a fellow countryman of yours becomes so poor that he sells part of his property, now this is property, Ruth is not property, she's a woman, then his closest redeemer is to come and buy back what his relative has sold. The closest redeemer, so Ruth is not a piece of property. She's not land, okay? Here's talking about land, okay? The closest relative will come and buy back the land, okay? Or in case someone has no redeemer, but recovers, oh, what if they have no redeemer? What if they recovers to find sufficient means for its redemption? So probably be able to get it back, okay? So this is kind of the same thing. You know, Boaz is talking about here, the marriage that Jesus talked about, the closest relative marries the woman next. The slave here needs to be redeemed. I don't know why they didn't redeem him. At one point, under the law, they were like, under the law with all the kings of Israel, they're like, we haven't been following these laws and stuff. We haven't been treating our slaves properly according to the law. Some of them should be redeemed. Some of them should be set free. So they did that. They were like, let's do that. Let's redeem them and set them free. Then they were like, oh, crud, this isn't fun. We have no workers. And they went back to doing immoral stuff again. Come on, people. It's like, we're going to give away all our money and start giving away more money to the poor, to the church. So instead of 10%, you start giving 30%. After a month or two of not eating as good of food, of not going to your favorite, like, I don't know, places to ask theme parks, movies, we go to a game cafe, we have to pay money, after, man, I would drive to go to fun places, but I have to spend gas money. I'm giving too much to the church. Hey, I know what, let's cut back to, say, 20%. Yeah, it's like, come on, God does not require a percentage. I agree. Okay, but don't be going and being a jerkwad, being like, because we were going to give all this money to God. Oh, wait, now the thorns and the thistles of life are growing up around me. I'm not having as much fun. I'm going to take some back from God. It's like, man, you were like, hey, I'm going to do this good thing and not even realize the hardship it's going to cause. Then when the hardship comes, I will be a baby about it and just say, okay, sorry, God, no more giving to you. It's like, oh, come on. I'll let my slaves go free. Sure. After about a month of no slave labor and you having to do stuff yourself, you having to actually pay people money to come and do stuff, but they're not there 24/7 because they're not a slave, of you getting inferior stuff, you're probably going to be like, this is hard. Please, Lord, give me the strength. Please, Lord, I'm depending on you. That's not what they did. No, they just like, oh, let's go get our slaves back. But hey, I do the same thing. So I get aggravated them, but I do the same thing. So anyway, you can see a pattern here. You can see with slaves who are people. It's with husbands and wives who are people. It's with land, who is not a person. Obviously, the land's not a person, but you're buying it. If a fellow countryman of yours becomes so poor, you're buying it for the person. So you're redeeming people. This is a common thing. Whatever therefore belongs to the Levites may be redeemed. Okay. Of redeeming a person who is poor. Man, look, there's a whole chapter 25. A whole chapter of 25. Man. One of his brothers may redeem him. Or his uncle, or his uncle's son may redeem him. All right. Now, if the means of a stranger or a foreigner resident becomes sufficient, and a countryman of yours becomes poor in relation to the foreigner, and sells himself to the stranger who is residing with you, or to the descendants of a stranger's family, then he shall have redemption right after he has been sold. He'll be able to be redeemed. One of his brothers may redeem him, or his uncle, or his uncle's son may redeem him, or one of his relatives or his family may redeem him, or if he prospers, he may redeem himself. Okay. Even if he's not redeemed by these means, you shall still leave in the year of Jubilee. In the year of Jubilee, everybody gets to leave, okay? Yeah. All right. Okay, there's more about redeeming. Should you want to redeem his house, look at that. Then he shall add 1/5 of your assessment price, so it may be his. Okay, you buy it plus a fifth of it, you redeem it. You pay the money. One who consecrates should ever want to redeem the field. Okay. I don't talk about redeeming a woman for marriage, but it's the Levirate marriage. Let's keep looking. You set apart for the Lord. They shall not be so redeemed. You see this whole redeem thing. It's a big thing, you know. Oh, there's the end of yep. Redeem. Let's see. Marry. Nope. Marriage. The marriage of Ruth. Now Boaz went up to the gate, sat down, and behold, the Redeemer of whom Boaz spoke was passing by. But we're not there yet. Okay. Oh, hey, we read this story earlier, actually. I keep closing that as if it makes a difference. We read this story earlier, real quick. Onan. Judah and Tamar, Genesis 38, full chapter. Okay, real quick, we're going to read this. It came about at that time that Judah departed from his brothers and visited a certain Adullamite whose name was Hira. He's an Adullamite. I guess he's from Adullam obligatum. I guess Hira isn't it? Anyway, Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite woman whose name was Shua. He took her as a wife, had relations with her, and she conceived and gave birth to a son, named him Judah had a son named with a Canaanite woman. Come on, Judah, what are you doing? Then she conceived again and gave birth to a son. She named him Onan. She gave birth to another son, named him Shelah. Named his son Onan, and Shelah. Those are weird names. It was at Shiva that she gave birth. Okay. Hopefully the Canaanite woman became an Israelite, and he wasn't like just, going after foreign women with foreign religions, where then his sons will like take on the practices of not God, but some other God. Hopefully that didn't happen, but that's not what we're talking about. Now, Judah took a wife for his first son, right? Named him Then she conceived again, named him Onan. She gave birth to yet another son. So Onan, Shelah. Okay, Tamar. Judah took a wife for his firstborn, named her Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was evil in the sight of the Lord, so God took his life. Okay. Then Judah said to Onan is the second one, have relations with your brother's wife and perform your duty as a brother-in-law. Yep. Now Onan knew the child would not be his. The child would be Er's. So when he had relationship with his brother's wife, he wasted his seed on the ground so that he would not give a child to his brother. What he did was displeasing in the sight of the Lord, so he also took his life. So because Onan was like, I'll have sex with you, but then get away from me, spill the semen on the ground, because it's not going to be my son, it's going to be my brother's son. God didn't like that. Evidently, maybe he had something against his brother. God saw that as selfish, that he would not give his brother a son. We say this whole situation's nuts and crazy, kind of like a queen that can't go before his wife. And then whenever she does go before whenever the queen does go before the king, you could be killed. And if the queen doesn't go before when the king calls it, no more queen for you. And I'm just going to call random people to be my queen. And one of them, all that's crazy. This is crazy. This is not 21st century America, or this might be some places in the world still today. Yes, there might be places like this in the day still. Okay, then Judah said to his daughter-in-law Tamar, remain a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah grows up. Why? Shelah's the next one. For he thought, I'm afraid that he too may die like his brothers. So like, I'm not giving it to this woman. Everybody I give this woman dies. Come on, dude. But he is trying to take care of her at least until Shelah comes along. He's like, going to stop taking care of her. Just like Naomi was like, should I not find security for you and a husband? Okay. So Naomi is doing a much better job than Ruth. All right. But now, although it is true that I am a redeemer, I can marry you. Yet there is also a redeemer more closely related than I. So in order to follow the law of Moses, got to wait for that redeemer. Genesis 38 is not the law of Moses. It is called the law, In the New Testament, they do call it the law. Jews do call this the law, but the actual law of Moses that he got on Mount Sinai was the stuff we read in Leviticus. And there's also stuff probably in Numbers and Deuteronomy. No, definitely is in Numbers and Deuteronomy. But Genesis 38, this is just a story showing the tradition, which then Moses turned into law. Okay. And now that it's law, it can be regulated well. Someone like Judah, when he starts playing around, hey, I'm not going to give you Sheila, and Tamar's like, come on, I need a husband. I don't have kids. That kind of shenanigans wouldn't happen under Moses' law. Well, I mean, I guess it could still happen, but at least there's a law. Okay, you get the point. Anyway, so there's a Redeemer closer than I. Okay, so we're going to follow the law. Remain this night, and when morning comes, if he will redeem you, good, let him redeem you. They want to follow the law. But if he does not wish to redeem you, then I will redeem you as the Lord lives. Lie down until morning. As the Lord lives is a vow. Let's see. Control C. Up here. Control V. All the days of his vow. Wait. That's not it. 51. Okay. I'm going to put quotation marks. So let's see. 35. Judges 8:19. And he said, there were many brothers, they were my brothers, the sons of my mother. As the Lord lives, if you had let them live, I would not kill you. She's like, I swear, if you had let my brothers live, I wouldn't kill you, but too bad. Ruth 3:13 remain this. Okay. 1 Samuel 13:39. For as the Lord lives, who saves Israel, the Lord who saves Israel, the Lord who saves Israel. He's giving a title. He's giving God a title. He's saying God saves Israel. So as the Lord lives, who saves Israel, even if it is my son Jonathan, he shall assuredly die. They took a vow. Saul was like, don't be eating no food. If you eat food, you're going to die. Jonathan, his son, did not hear about this vow. Okay. Jonathan ate some honey. He felt better. Okay. As the Lord lives, who saves Israel, even if it was my son Jonathan, he shall surely die. So Saul's saying, I promise, no matter what. Even if it's Jonathan, my son, who ate the food, he's going to die. Okay. 1439, 1445. But the people said to Saul, must Jonathan die? He who has brought about this great victory in Israel, far from it. As the Lord lives, the people are saying this to Saul now. Hey, Saul said, as the Lord lives, even if it's Jonathan, he's going to die because he shouldn't have eaten the food. The people said, must Jonathan die? As the Lord lives, not even a hair of his head shall fall to the ground because he has worked with God this day. So the people rescued Jonathan. He did not die. So Saul was wrong. Saul was like, I swear it's going to happen. The people are like, nope. Saul listened to the voice of Jonathan and vowed, as the Lord lives, David shall not be put to death. Saul hasn't kept his vow in the past. As the Lord lives, as the Lord lives. Come on, dude. Look, you're not Boaz. Saul, the king of the Old Testament king, he started off good and then quickly went down. He went downhill morally, went away from God. No good. 50 minutes. But indeed, as the Lord lives and as your soul lives, there is just a step between me and death. Oh, David vowed, saying, your father is well aware that I found favor in your sight. So David says, as the Lord lives, there's just a step between me and death. Why? Saul wants to have me killed. David vowed, your father, Saul. And Saul said, Jonathan is not to know this, otherwise he'll be, Saul's like, I'm not going to tell my son Jonathan that I'm going to kill David. Look, Jonathan, as the Lord lives, as your soul lives, there's just a step between me and death. Because Saul listened to the voice of Jonathan. As the Lord lives, David shall not be put to death. Yeah, right. Saul was willing to kill his own son. But you get the picture, the whole as the Lord lives. Okay. All right, let's keep going down. And man, as the Lord lives, as the Lord lives. Look at that song. David's anger burned greatly against and said, "As the Lord lives, the man who's done this shall certainly die." Okay, certainly deserve. The king vowed and said, "As the Lord lives, now then, as the Lord lives, who has established me and set me on the throne of my father David." Okay. Oh, Adonijah shall certainly be put to death. That man, as the Lord lives, is all about being put to death and such. One second, guys. My feet are very cold. Aha. Got my slippers. Oh, man. I'm in Texas and it is freezing. Our apartments, kind of old apartments, they don't have the best heating and air conditioning. So even if I were to put the heat down, probably wouldn't get warm down here. Okay. Oh, hey, Micaiah. This guy's awesome. Mik-ah-it-ah-ha. The way you say it, Isaiah is spelled the same except for with an S right here. I-S-A-I-A. So I said Isaiah. So I call this guy Micaiah. So that's just me. Micaiah said, "As the Lord lives, whatever the Lord says to me, I shall speak." Micaiah is a prophet. And the people are like, "Hey, say nice things to the king, prophesy nice things to the king." And Messiah said, "Look, I'm only saying whatever the Lord says, as the Lord lives." So he's like, means serious business, hopefully more serious than Saul. Elisha said, "As surely the Lord lives, and as yourself live, I will not leave you." So they went down to Bethel. He didn't leave them. Elijah said to Elisha, "Stay here, please. The Lord has sent me to Bethel." But Elisha is like, "As the Lord lives, I'm not leaving you." Okay. Oh, hey, here it happens again. Elijah said to him, "Elisha, please stay here, for the Lord sent me to Jericho." But he said, "As surely as the Lord lives." No, in other words, I promise. It's a promise. Okay. "I will remain this night, and when morning comes, if the closer kin will redeem you, will take you as a wife, good. Let him redeem you. Okay. But if he does not wish to redeem you, then I will redeem you as the Lord lives. I swear I redeem you. I promise. It's gonna happen. Lie down until morning." Okay. So I guess he's like, "Hey, lay here and chill, you know." So she lay at his feet until morning and got up before one person could recognize another. And he said, "Do not let it be known that the woman came to the threshing floor." And he said, "Let it be known, let it not be known." Boaz thought, okay, she woke up while it was still dark. Boaz thought, no one must know that a woman visited the threshing floor. I guess women weren't allowed to visit the threshing floor. I guess it was just for men. Maybe it could have been seen as, he said, "I know the good you have done." He talks about how awesome she is. He doesn't want to ruin her reputation, maybe. That's my guess. I mean, he's down there. Boaz is at the threshing floor eating food and drinking wine, and then falls asleep. I mean, very, very proper quote unquote strict societies with men and women. Women don't go visiting men in dark places unless there's trouble. So whether it's the man took advantage of the woman, or the woman and the man snuck off together, or the woman was like trying to seduce the man. So let it not be okay. Boaz had said, "Let it not be known that this woman came to the." So maybe he was thinking in his head. Maybe he was okay. Maybe it's like this. Okay, lie down until morning. Boaz thought it can't be known she was here, so she lay at his feet until morning, but rose before anyone could recognize her. Maybe that's it. Like as the Lord lives, I will redeem you myself. Okay. No one must know that a woman was here. Lie down until morning. Get up before it's enough light. Maybe that, something like that. He said, "Now there's nobody else awake yet. Give me the shawl that is on your, and hold it." Give me the shawl that is on you and hold it. Okay. She held it, and he measured 6 measures of barley and laid it on her. Then she went into the city. Man, giving her all sorts of food. Remember back in chapter 2? How much food did she get in chapter 2? It was like something measures of something. Oh, I was fast, wasn't it? Okay, let's look. Mother-in-law, where did you glean today? Okay. It was about an ephah of barley. Ephah of barley. 30 pounds of barley. This was one day. 30 pounds of barley in one day. That's a lot of barley. 6 quarts of barley. 4 quarts make a gallon. So that's not too much, actually. If an ephah is 26 quarts, never mind. 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. So 6 milk jugs filled with barley. 6-gallon milk jugs filled with barley, and a little bit more. That's a lot. Look at this. She beat the grain out of the wheat. It filled an entire basket. The NLT trying to be as easy as possible. Forget all the numbers. Forget all the ephahs, the quarts. What's a quart in ephah? 30 pounds, an entire basket. Okay. Now, how much did he give her here? 6 measures of barley. 6 measures of barley. He measured out about 60 pounds of barley. Put it in her shawl and put it on her shoulder. She's carrying 60 pounds. He shoveled 6 measures of barley into her shawl. He poured into it 6 measures of barley. 6 scoops of barley, 60 pounds. Now the NET, all these are scholarly. They all have scholars. They all have people who are super smart in languages. But the NET purposely was like, let's get super technical and very detailed. They have like notes. So hey, let's look at this. Okay, guys, 58 minutes. Probably after this we'll be done. Not Esther. That was a different one. Ruth. 3. Now, remember, in Ruth 2, it showed us, real quick, an ephah of barley and about an ephah, and they got a little note here. Okay, 30 pounds. Came out to about an ephah. They got a little note here. Oh, see note on Isaiah 5:10. Okay, over here, 6 quarts, and they got about an ephah. Okay, they got notes, so they're pretty sure. But the reason over here, there's no little notes anywhere. I mean, you can barely see them anywhere on the screen, but I'm looking. 6 measures of barley in her shawl, and some Hebrew manuscripts, Aramaic, Syriac, Vulgate, other Hebrew manuscripts read he. Oh, okay. Oh, and he went to town. Maybe he did. I mean, she eventually did, of course. But that's not talking about measure the barley. Probably there's no notes because either A, because there's probably no notes, and it probably doesn't say like an exact amount because they're unsure. That's my guess. But the NET has like super awesome notes. So let's go new right there, NET. No one must know that a woman visited the threshing floor. Look at all those notes. Let it not be known that the woman came to the threshing floor. The article, right? It's probably dittographic. Note the final here and the pursuit. What the heck? Okay. Hold out the shawl or a cloak. CEV says cape. The Hebrew noun occurs only here and in Isaiah. Only 2 places. So is it a cloak? Is it a shawl? Is it a cape? Okay. You are wearing, which is upon you. Okay. She tightly, about 60 pounds. Okay, let's look. She gripped it tightly. He measured out 6 of barley and placed it 6 of barley. Okay, so that's why we're not sure. The literal rendition would be 6 of barley. Okay. The unit of measure is not indicated in the Hebrew text. The unit, it's not even there. It doesn't even say ephah, quart. It doesn't even say what it is, Although it would be probably have been clear to the original hearer of the account. Yeah, that makes sense. We don't have to name every little thing. The Bible says things that the original readers would know. They would just know. I wouldn't know. If I said, hey, can you go down the road to the store and pick up some milk? My wife would know to drive to either Aldi or HEB. She would drive to one of those places. She would pick up a gallon of 2% milk. She would go into the store. She would take it. She would go to the front. She would check it out and pay for it and bring it home. Okay, let's say this is a Ruth day. I would say, then BJ said to Devorah, that's my wife's name. BJ said to Devorah, go down to the store, please purchase a gallon of milk and bring it home so we may drink it. Now, I said a lot there. Please go down to the store, purchase a gallon of milk so we may bring it home and drink it. Well, I didn't say 2%. I didn't say which store to go to. I just wrote it out. But the NET the note would say, the hearers of BJ probably knew what he was talking about. Okay. Here, the unit of measure, although it would have probably been clear to the original hearers of the account, they probably knew the unit of measure. Just like I don't have to tell when I say, hey, go pick up some milk, I don't have to say a gallon of milk. Everybody knows what that is in America. I'm sure there are other places. Maybe let's just make something up. Let's say I go to Britain and somebody says, can you get me some apples? And I come back with 3 and they're like, dude, some apples. I'm not from Britain. Oh, I'm sorry. Some apples. Would you go get me a whole, bushel of apples? That's like 20 apples. I'd be like, okay, look, I'm from America. You got to be more specific. I don't know the British idioms. All right, I just made that up, by the way, about British. I don't know the bushel. What is that? Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm going to let it shine. There's a song. All right. Although it would have been, okay, 6 ephahs, the equivalent of 180 to 300 pounds, is clearly too heavy, especially if carried in a garment. Okay. 6 omers, an omer being 1/10 of an ephah, seems too little, since this would have amounted to 6/10 of an ephah. Oh, less than Ruth had gleaned in a single day. Okay, so however much an omer is, 1/10 of an ephah, an omer is 1/10 of an ephah, that's less than she got in chapter 2. All right, chapter 2. Thus, a C, 1/3 of an ephah, may be in view here. 6 C's with an H would amount to 2 ephahs, about 60 pounds. Man, 60 pounds. Woof. And look, R.L. Hubbard, Jr., Ruth, Nicot, and F.W. Bush, Ruth and Esther, W.B. Nicot, New something Old Testament. New International Correspondent, WBC, Western Biblical Commentary, New something commentary of the Old Testament, something Bible commentary, something like that. So yeah, that's what those are, in case you're curious. So L.R. Hubbard wrote the something commentary of the Old Testament on Ruth, and on page 222, that's where in other words, the NET is saying these are some good sources for that. All the stuff we just talked about for C and ephah, 1/3 of an ephah, maybe if you, just like I don't go to those. I just go straight to the text and read it. But we can rest assured that the people giving us the Bible translation, they're smart people. They know what they're doing. They're writing Bible commentaries. They're translating. They know what they're doing. So. All right. Bring the garment, put 6 measures of barley and put it and laid it on her. And then she went to the, yeah, she's probably holding it. It might be, it says over here, it says, placed the bundle on her, helped her lift the bundle, measured them into the shawl. She went down. Oh, placed it on her back. I'm not sure exactly how it happened. She probably carried it. I mean, she's tough. So when Ruth came to her mother-in-law, she said, her mother-in-law, Naomi, said, how did it go, my daughter? And Ruth told her all that the man, Boaz, had done for her. Yep. How long did it take? I don't know. What details did she give and didn't she give? Who knows? She's telling her mother. I mean, her mother-in-law, probably been at home all night asleep. Maybe she's been awake all night, huh? I wonder how it's gonna go. She also said, "These 6 measures of barley he gave to me, for he said, do not go to your mother-in-law empty-handed." Wait, when did Boaz say, "Do not go to your mother-in-law empty-handed"? Okay, so Ruth is reporting something that Boaz said, or Boaz didn't say it, but Ruth is putting those words in his mouth because, I mean, that's what he wanted. He wanted her to go home, with food, give food to her mother-in-law. He knows Ruth's mother-in-law, Naomi, is old, doesn't have a husband, needs to be taken care of. He knows Ruth is working because she's young and can get out there and do hard labor. She can work and give food to Boaz. Boaz don't need no food. He's got plenty. She can give Ruth to Naomi. Okay. Ruth can give food to Naomi. Boaz knows that Ruth can give food to Naomi. So Boaz maybe said this, maybe didn't. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I mean, they were trying to be quiet, but how quiet is it up here? They rose before it. No one should know that a woman came to the threshing floor. They got it before anyone corrected others. How quiet is it to scoop out some barley and put it in? Is it quiet? I'm not sure. And he's like, hey, don't go to your mother-in-law empty-handed. Here's some food. So she told all that the man had done for her. What did the man do for her? The man woke up, said, "Hey, this is awesome and great." Oh, right then I guess he had to talk really quiet too. He had to whisper to her, "Hey, you've done good. You didn't go after younger women. Tomorrow, if the other man doesn't want to redeem you, I will redeem you, period. So, hey, stay here and sleep." That's all the other stuff. How is that all that the man had done for her? Yeah, often there's another verse. Jesus says, "Go call your husband." And the woman says, "I don't have any husbands." And Jesus says, "Correct. You have had 6 husbands. You've had 5 husbands, and the man you have right now is not your husband." Well, then later, that woman runs, turning water into wine. Okay, gone 3. Okay, 4. I thought it was 4. Right there. Okay, right here. Yes. The woman replied, "I have no husband." Jesus said to her, "Right you are when you said, 'I have no husband.' For you have had 5 husbands, and the man you are living with now is not your husband. This you said truthfully." "Sir, I see you are a prophet." Jesus just said, "Yeah, that's all I know. Up here, you have no bucket or well. The well is deep." Jesus said, "Give me some water to drink." Jesus replied, "Everyone who drinks some of this water will be thirsty, but whoever drinks some water, I will give him." I mean, so that's not much. "Sir, give me this water so I may drink it." What does Jesus tell her about her life? Go call your husband. You've had 5 husbands. The man you're living with right now is not your husband. Look at this. Where is it at? Now, many Samaritans from the town believed in him because of the report of the woman who testified. What did he tell the woman? "You don't got a husband. You've had 5. The man you're with now is not your husband." What did she say? "He told me everything I ever did." It's like, man, I mean, maybe the whole conversation isn't recorded. How could he tell her everything he ever did? Like, that would take a long time. He's God and he can do it. He knows. I mean, Jesus is God in human flesh. So if he was limited by human intellect, we know he was not limited in holiness, and God could tell him anything he wanted. Jesus was the ultimate prophet in that sense. So, I mean, whether he just knew it because he was God, or whether his human intellect had a direct line to God because, he's perfect and holy and all that, whatever, Jesus could have done it either way. I'm getting into like theological stuff that I shouldn't be, because we're just looking at the Bible, all the stuff before theology. So I'm assuming Jesus could have told her everything, but he didn't. He just said, "Your husband. You don't have a husband. You have 7 husbands." But it taken him forever to tell her everything I ever did. So back here, she told her all that the man had done for her. Well, that is a big deal, saying, "I will redeem you," if the man doesn't redeem you. And then she also said, these 6 measures of barley he gave to me. So all that he had done for her might include that. The text seems to say it doesn't. In other words, all he had done for her is the stuff he did for her is probably the I will redeem you. Don't worry. I won't tell anybody you were here. If the man redeems you, fine, but if not, I will. Then these 6 measures of barley he gave me, for he said, do not go to your mother empty-handed. Then she said, wait. Then Naomi said, wait, my daughter, until you know how the matter turned out. What matter? The matter of the redemption. Okay? Be patient, my daughter. Wait until you know how the matter turns out. Who, if you were redeemed by Boaz, or if you were be redeemed by the other man. So either way, she's going to be redeemed. That's pretty cool. Boaz is making sure she's taken care of. For the man will not rest until he has settled it today. Yeah, because she slept and she went back and he said he'll do it today. Naomi's like, hey, he's going to do it. I know it. I guess Naomi knows Boaz, knows what kind of man Boaz is. Boaz is a man of his word. Is he going to do it today? We'll find out next chapter. But for now, stop share. For now, let's pray real quick and call it a day. Dear Lord God, thank you very much for being awesome. Thank you very much for being holy. Help us to remember that no matter what befalls us, no matter what hardships come upon us, even if it's seemingly evil and wicked, and why would this happen to me? Lord, you love us and you comfort us and you take care of us and you watch over us. You're not going to let any evil happen to us that we can't go through. You're not going to let any temptation come upon us that we can't resist. You're good, Lord. Thank you very much for sending Jesus to die for our sins when we don't resist those temptations. Thank you, Jesus, for dying and rising for us. Help us to follow you all the days of our life. Amen. See you guys on the next very basic Bible.